So thank you so much for pulling up. I appreciate you. Definitely. So the goal of this right here is to basically find out who you are as a person, a creative. So we're gonna dive into how you think and how you think about the things, the world around you, stuff like that. All right?
All right, sound like a good time.
Cool. Definitely. So first of all, how do you pronounce your name and where'd you get it from?
Okay, I gotta do this because people still don't get it. So it's pronounced Rokkai, right? Like row your boat, kai like rhymes with pie. Or I say to people, it rhymes with oh my. Originally, I was gonna go by this other name. It was ridiculous. It was like Negro Miyagi, cause I don't know. One of my favorite rappers had a similar name. I was gonna go by my government name, which is Bishop, but it's so many other people that have that name. But essentially, Rokkai, like I used to be in the comics growing up. I used to make my own. That was the name of one of the characters from an unfinished comic. And I was like, this stands out enough. The spelling is kind of cool, I guess. I'll use that. So, and then it just kind of caught on. And so now people refer to me as that. So yeah, cool times.
So where do you call home?
Home, I don't feel like is like, for me, geographically isn't anywhere, because I moved a little bit when I was younger, so for the most part, on some sentimental, I'm allowed to curse?
Yeah, for sure. Do your thing.
On some sentimental shit, home is just, with my folks, my parents, my brothers. I've learned to call like the neighborhood I grew up in, like the apartment complex I grew up in, home, because it's like, that's just where I ended up spending the latter half of my childhood, and a lot of my experiences came from. So I guess in a way that's home, yeah.
Yeah, so wherever your family's at, that's where you call home, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Definitely. What's your clearest childhood memory?
Clearest childhood, like earliest clearest, or just one that like, psh?
One that pops out in your head, the first thing you think of your childhood?
The first thing I can think of, so when I was like 8, I was playing football, and I hadn't had like any touchdowns that whole year. I was a running back, and we lost like every game that year. And we got to the playoffs against the best team in the league, and like I rushed for like 200 yards that game, had a touchdown. We lost. I was the only one that scored that game, but I guess that's one that just pops out. If I had to pick one, I didn't want to sit here too long with it. But yeah, we lost, but I had a good game. So yay me. Yeah.
Now, speaking on your school experience, how was that like?
What school? High
school experience, high school, middle school.
Okay. Man, middle school was a little rough. Just life things going on. I was really one of the like weird kids. A lot of people claim this. A lot of people claim, oh, I was never. If you knew me growing up, I was definitely one of the weird kids. I ain't have like too many friends for real. Like, I didn't really fit in too well. I didn't care until like I got to high school, I guess. In high school, I was an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life, but I played football and I ran track. So a lot of my focus was on that. Originally, the plan was to get a scholarship, get my school paid for, and have a good paying job. And yeah, it didn't work out that way. I played on Team USA for a summer, and then that was about it. That's about as far as I got with it. I got a few little tiny offers, but overall, I ended up having to work my way through college like most people. Yeah.
Gotcha. So speaking of college, where did you go to college and what did you study?
Okay, yeah, so I went to Georgia State University. It's in downtown Atlanta. Originally, I was a business admin major. And then because at first I was living at home going to school, I had to like bike to school, be at school, like leave extra early, then bike to work, then bike home, the whole nine. Business admin, realized it sucked because they made me take accounting. That was my only C in college. I was like, hell no. And I saw Black Panther my like summer going to sophomore year, and I know it's like corny, but I saw that movie and I was like, yeah, like film. I'd always been interested. but like I was like, I can actually do this for real. So then I changed it to film. Got my degree in, got my bachelor's in film and media. Went to Georgia Film Academy my junior and senior year. Got certified in media composer and Pro Tools, but I haven't found too much work with that yet. But yeah, college, that's where I kind of started making music, meeting people, and just started becoming who I was like supposed to be, you could say.
So it seems like you've always been really creative. That's something that's always been part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about your life in the home and outside the home that pushed you in that direction?
Ah, man, it's so, you know, both my parents were once upon a time athletes. Like, I mean, nothing professional, but like I was raised, you know, to be, you know, books and, you know, sports, be tough at that. And so I thought that's really all it was until like I met my best friend now since I was 8. His name is Smiles. He was the creative one. You know, he was the one that was like good at music and was able to draw really well. And I was like, you know, I'm a little kid. I'm like, damn, I want to be like this nigga for real. So that's where it kind of like started. I had always had an interest, but for me actually starting like to delve into like create, or I don't even know if I said it right, just creating stuff. That's where it started like making my comics, started drawing a lot. Yeah, and I don't come from like a super creative family. Like everybody got like their own thing that they do, but in terms of like actually art-wise, it's only like a couple people I could think of. So yeah.
Talk about the moment you decided you wanted to take music really serious.
It's a couple moments, I say, because when you decide to start, I'm gonna make music, if you know how it is, like the stigmatism behind rappers or just people that make music, it's not a professional job. You can't take a test to be successful. A lot of people look at you sideways, especially since that SoundCloud era, and people look at you sideways for picking it. So when I first started, I was real like insecure. I was scared of what people thought of me. I used to rap with a mask on. Like that was my persona. I know, crazy. But I guess me and my group 602, right? That's the group I started rapping with before I started like actually creating my own stuff. Still with them, but we were making an album. We got a Mick Jenkins feature, right? He was doing the deals at the time, and he fucked with us to work, and he fucked with us enough to give us a discount too, which was cool. And then I was like, because at the time, Mick Jenkins was one of my favorite rappers. He still is, but he was like top 5 for me at the time. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And so for a few months, I was like, we can do this. And then I hit a real low point when I dropped my first album that's no longer out anywhere, hit rock bottom. And I was like, I'm gonna quit. And then I guess, I don't know, something in me told me like, nah, like you love doing this. It's gonna be a long road. It's not gonna be easy. You might not make it till who knows how long, but if you quit now, you're gonna regret it forever. Or that's what I thought. And yeah, it was like February 2020, right before COVID. That's when I was like, I'm gonna take this serious. This is what I wanna do. Fuck whatever's going on. It's gonna be hard. People gonna doubt you. And life is not easy as it is already, but this is what I want to do. So that was like, after I got out my extreme slump, that's when I realized, yeah, that's what I want to do for real.
Respect, man, for sure. Yeah. So these days, when it comes to starting to make music, really take it serious, you have to be able to do it by yourself. What's the first piece of equipment you got started with, and like, what was it like to really start making music by yourself?
So like in terms of music production, I say the first piece of equipment that I've had was a guitar. I started teaching myself guitar at like 14 because my best friend knew how to play guitar, and I was like, I want to be like this nigga. So I say a guitar. When I actually decided I wanted to create tracks, I was like 18 going on 19. I had the demo version of FL Studio. I had my guitar. I had a starter electric guitar, a baby amp, and I had my Samsung Galaxy S7 that I would record into, plug it into my laptop, and then do everything like that. Not the most efficient process, but that's what I started out with. Yeah, a lot of people though, I feel like it's not a lot of people out there that have to make it all by themselves though. You know, a lot of people don't. They get their stuff off YouTube or whatever. For some reason, I was like, I feel like I can produce, or like I feel like I can learn this enough to make my own shit. So that's what I did. But if we're being honest, most people don't do it all by themselves. They get studio time, or they know a homie that has some type of work. A lot of what I guess my style comes from was just out of like necessity. I didn't have the equipment. Some of my friends did, but we was all spread out because of school. Yeah, that's how I started out. Yeah.
So you mentioned FL Studio. Is that the program you still use right now?
Oh yeah, FL Gang for life. Anybody, I mean, there's all in the producer community. It's like, oh fuck FL or like fuck Ableton, whatever. But I'm an FL guy. My favorite producer, I guess, ever at this point, Monte he uses FL. And I was actually considering changing DAWs to like Ableton because a lot of my favorite producers at like that time, they were all Ableton users. And I'm like, man, I'm missing out. There's, you know, and then when I learned my favorite producer uses FL, that's when I realized, oh, nah, it's not that like this is the wrong program. I just suck. So like, I just started practicing real hard in that. And yeah, FL has become like my go-to for everything now. Sound design, mixing, mastering, producing, recording. I can do Pro Tools, but I'm best at FL.
So I want to talk about the animated shorts you put out. I think those are 5 pieces of content you did. So talk about how you put those together and who helps you put that stuff together.
Well, I do all the animation. So like, I know I started animating when I was like 11, just on like the laptop at home with my mouse. Just little things in here practicing. I hopped on Pivot, and then like, you know, my first few shorts were through Pivot. Had to find a way to freak it to make it look cool. And then I hopped on Critter and I got a drawing pad and I started actually doing like, you know, animation that way. Yeah, I do like 90% of that. Most of the outside help comes from like the voices of people that I need, or maybe like a producer made that beat and that's what that is. But yeah, it's a tedious process, you know. It is hell on earth. I don't have like super strong equipment, so I can't really upgrade to a better program just yet. But what I have gets the job done. And yeah. Yeah.
Well, they're fire, man. They're pretty dope. It shows like who you are as an artist as well, too. Definitely.
Thank you.
And what pops out to me, the one that popped out to me the most is when you're in the apartment, your homies come through, which you start recording and stuff. And the one scene that really sticks out to me the most that I resonate with in a funny way too is when the roach comes out. You guys are celebrating, we got our first apartment in the city, yada yada, and the roach just comes out. And it sparked to me a question like, even though it's just a roach, it's not a big deal. It's like such a challenge to get through. Like, so what in life, like what is life throwing challenges at you that are like, damn, this is making it hard to create, it's making it hard to do this, and how do you deal with it?
Okay, a lot of things. Like, I mean, I can start with the roach thing. I have a phobia of roaches. You know, growing up, my building had a roach infestation problem. Pour the cereal, out comes a roach. That's enough to freak me out, right? And it was so constant, it made me scared to sleep sometimes, because it's like, what if a roach crawl over my face? But I guess in recent years, what made it really hard to create was like, you know, having a job, going to school, and then having other responsibilities too. Not just being able to focus on this is hard. People, yeah, it's just hard, like life, you know? For me, it's easier for me, I guess, than other people to do that because I grew up multitasking. Like, when you're an athlete, serious athlete, you have no choice but to be like, I gotta wake up for super early morning workouts, go to school, have practice after that, do homework, repeat. That was my life. So now it's pretty much the same, you know, you gotta find time, and it's like, you gotta have something, I think, something that keeps you grounded to where it's like, this is still the mission. I don't know exactly what it is for me just yet, or like how to describe it, but it's for me, it's just like, this is what I live for, you know? Everything else with a few exceptions, is secondary to me. So even though I got this thing that takes up most of my day, I will lose sleep and not eat for this thing. So I think that's me. You know, this is what matters to me. I want it so bad, right? Because before this, I was doing shit that I didn't even really want to do. And I was going hard in it. I didn't really want to play football by the time I was a teenager, but it was my way to school. So like, I busted my tail to get a better situation. Now that I'm focusing on something that I actually want to do, and on top of wanting to better my situation, there's not much that's going to stop me from doing that thing, you know? So yeah, for me, it's always a challenge, and you know, I do get burnt out sometimes, but I always come back because it's like, you know, the grind don't stop. I feel like I know what it takes to get where you want to go in this shit, so I just keep going.
The pure love for it makes you keep going no matter what, basically.
Yeah, like I said, I live for it. You know, when there was like a time where it was like life was just crazy, but that was one of the things that kept me grounded. And it's like, now that I'm living in a better like situation just in general, you know, now it's not even as like apparent, like, damn, like I still have my days, but yeah, I'm grounded, and it's like, that's the vision, so I attack it.
What artist and or producer taught you the most when it comes to making music?
Everybody who knows me knows, like, it's probably gonna be Monte Booker. I didn't really have, like, I had favorite producers, but like when I started making it, I tried to, like, you know, at least with me, when I started out, I tried to emulate their styles because I didn't have my own and I liked theirs. And a lot of people's styles were like really cool, and I was like kind of able to do it, but he was like the first guy I heard where I was like, what the fuck? Cause he has crazy sounding stuff, but he's what I realized was like, he was accessible, but he was different, right? He's not so different to where nobody can enjoy it, but he's like different enough to where it stands out. And that was like, whatever he was doing, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like, oh, this is different, but it still appeals to people. People can still fuck with it. I can still fuck with it. Yeah, and it took me years. It took me years to even get to where I want to be at now, but just, you know, he had like gave me a cosign one time, and with that, he had linked me to so many other producers and artists that like in summer 2020, that's when it kind of started like picking up for me. When I started working with other artists, it was from him, which it was surreal at the point, because it was like, damn, like that's my favorite artist giving me props for it, or like my favorite producer giving me props, and just, yeah, studying his style, how he does like some of his percussion, how he just drags certain things and whatnot. I don't know music theory, but like, just studying him and other people that kind of like are in that bubble that he's in, yeah, that put me in the right direction for sure.
So you say you recognized you in some way. How did that happen?
Man, I almost threw up that day. I was so excited. But like, so he had dropped this beat on his SoundCloud, like, what was it? April 9th, 2020. I remember the date. He had dropped this beat on his SoundCloud called Wah, and it was like some bossa nova type chords, but like it was like a trap beat. I don't even know how to describe it. It was so beautiful to me. And I was like, I already kind of know these chords from like a similar song, but like all I did was like, I set my phone up next to my speaker, played the song, and I did like a little guitar cover of the beat. And like, it was something really little. I didn't expect anything from it, but he like hit me up and was like, bro, you're fire type shit. And like, he had shouted me out on Twitter, shouted me out on IG. He was following me for a sec. And like, honestly, at that time, I was nowhere near as good as I am now. So I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I was like, this was luck. You know, like I could definitively say like, that was luck. Yeah, it was cool. That was luck. So I was kind of freaking out. All these producers that I felt like were way above me, and a lot of people that were way above me at the time are trying to work. I feel like I can't even keep up, you know, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, I haven't been making music or even had a desire to make music up until like I was an adult, you know? So at this time, I hadn't been making music that long, so I'm sitting here like freaking out like, yo, they're gonna realize how bad I suck and I'm gonna lose all of it. I didn't. I caught up, but yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I called my friends up. I told my folks. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Felt like I was actually gonna make it. That was a while ago. Still on the grind, still far from the goal, but that was like one of the things that told me, yeah, I can do this. It was crazy.
I feel like just part of your growth and stuff. It wasn't luck for sure. It was just you didn't feel at the time that you were ready to take the opportunity, you know?
Oh yeah, no, and I feel like, you know, if our paths cross again, like, you know, because he's still my favorite producer. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But if our paths cross again, I feel like I'll be more like ready. I truly did not feel ready back then. And it showed if you know my earlier work for real. But yeah, man, now I feel like it doesn't really matter who it is. I can, not in terms like, I'll be able to hold my own in any situation at this point.
I think we all have those type of situations happen, especially when we're first starting out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Facts.
So let's talk about this crazy world of ours. When COVID first happened, what was your initial reaction?
I wasn't that worried about it. I wasn't that worried. Not to say that I was not like protecting myself and taking it serious, but I hoped that I was thinking it was gonna be gone by the time I started my senior year of college. And it was so sad because it's like by the time that COVID came around, I finally kind of got a grip of what I wanted to do and what I was capable of doing. Like that year was supposed to be the year, you know, at least in terms of like college, like that was supposed to be the year. COVID hit, the protests hit, a lot of shit was happening and a lot of opportunities were missed because of COVID. But you know, besides the horrific things going on in life, and then I guess even in my life at the time, that's when my music started picking up. A lot of people were, before COVID in the scene, they were climbing, they was going up. COVID hit, they plateaued, and they kind of like, they went down a little bit. Some of them are actually coming back up because, I mean, they were going up in the first place. Me, I was never at that point. So when COVID hit, that was kind of when I started going up, because when Monte had reposted me, we had already been in lockdown for like a month maybe, or like 2-3 weeks. So that's when it started going up for me. I wasn't too worried, I guess, at least for my career in this art stuff. I was like, okay, COVID or not, I'm still gonna get to the bag, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was cool. No, it wasn't cool. It was not cool, but it was, that, I guess for some reason, as bad as things were at that time, that's when my creativity and art started like going up.
Thoughts on the world as it is today, state of the world?
Man, I don't know. At this point, it's hard for me to care, you know? And it's like, I do care, but it's like, if my folks is straight, cause at this time in my life, like I feel like I can't do much about anything at all. You know, it was hard enough just trying to look after myself and then worrying about my folks or my friends. And it's like, you know, this world around us is crumbling, you know, ain't shit I can do about that. I care, but it's like, I'm trying to learn how to like control what I can control. Right? I have values and morals, and I think there's a lot of things that are really fucked up. But in terms of my impact and effect on actually changing things as of this moment right now has been extremely minimal. And I guess, you know, not to say that I've given up, but like I don't expect shit from shit at this point. I'm prepared for the worst. I do not expect the best at this point. I expect anything, right? Any and everything can happen. I've grown to enjoy nature a lot more since I've, you know, been in my early 20s. But it's like sad, like damn, I'm starting to enjoy nature and this shit about to go up in flames because of the way the planet, you know, how humans is doing it. So yeah, I don't really like the state of the world right now, but I also know there's not much I can do about it right now. So it's like, worry about what I can worry about, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So talk about your mindset when it comes to producing records and then rapping. The difference.
Yeah. So I think at this point, I'm a better producer than I am rapper. For me, I try to make like 2 beats a day if I'm not too busy. Just as practice, just so I can be ready to give people packs. For me, I listen to music every day, and I'm not afraid to like fail or try out new styles and new things. One of the things that I learned helped me is like get in tune with what my producer style is. What are my tendencies? And emphasize that, don't only stick to it, but the more like in sessions, sometimes I have to make a beat on the fly. Now, a lot of producers get in a session to make a beat on the fly and they start overthinking it because they feel like, like I do this too much. People don't realize like they don't be hearing your beats as much as you do. I hear my beats all the time because I'm always making them. A lot of people don't hear my beats that much. So stick to like, when you're in a rut or like you're on the spot, stick to what works and then maybe go outside of that after that. That's what I do. I stick to what works and is efficient. And when I'm in the comfort of my home, I'll try out new things. I like producing more. It's less room for error. You can experiment and it sound cool. On the other hand, rapping, it's a very thin line. If you experiment too much, you sound ridiculous, or to the masses, you sound ridiculous. And even if that style becomes popular in the next 2-3 years, at the time, it's not like, it's like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to rapping, I do my best almost every single time. Like I feel like I have to write extremely clever bars and I have to have a very impressive rhyme scheme for everything that I do. So a lot of times it'll take me longer to write to a song than it is, or write to a beat than it would be to like actually make the beat. I've gotten out of the habit now of rapping super fast. I actually never really wanted to do that. It was just the beats that I was given. But yeah, now, I guess one of the 2 things they have in common is not to overthink the process. This is what it is, and don't kill yourself trying to make it. Just do what feels right. Let it come naturally.
So talk about your favorite track and then your favorite album.
From anybody. So, man. So I guess my favorite album of all time. God damn. Okay, my favorite album of all time as of right now, just because of how its effect on me, I either gotta be ATLiens by Outkast or Mad Villainy by MF Doing Madly. You know what I'm saying? I guess my favorite song of all time, God, dog, I don't even know, man. It might be a Linkin Park song. I don't know, like, it goes back that deep. I know my favorite album right now is either The Forever Story or Hypnose by Ray Millenay. And my favorite track right now is probably Just in Time, the one with Wayne and Kenny Mason. That shit's so hard. But yeah, that's tough. It's tough when you listen to so many different genres and styles and music and artists to pick what's your favorite of all time. Yeah, I couldn't give you a favorite song of all time. I'd have to think way harder about that. But yeah, ATLiens and Mad Villainy. I'd probably say ATLiens. That's my favorite album.
The production on that album is way ahead of its time.
Bro, crazy. Thank you. That album was ahead of its time. Good God, that shit was so good.
It still sounds crazy clean. I don't know how they did that back then.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be on that type of time. Not like exactly what they did, but just make something that's like, oh, whoa, this guy's ahead of his time. So, yeah.
Talk about learning how to make records that'll really attract people.
Okay, this is a good one. So I know people often say comparison is the thief of joy, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't compare myself every once in a while. And I mean, not subjectively, objectively. Quality, flows, right? I'm not going to compare my career path to somebody else. I'm not going to compare my success to somebody else. But if I hear some shit, like for a minute, like at least when it came to making beats, there's this thing called clipping where it kind of just like, you know, when things get a little too loud, it starts distorting it. Well, there's a saucy way to do it where it sounds really cool. I didn't figure that out till like this year. And I kept listening to my favorite producer, my producer homies and all that shit. I'm like, bro, like, how are they doing this? And like, once I learned how to do that, I started getting more placements, right? Because prior to that, I would make a whole bunch of beats, a whole bunch of good beats, but I could not get placements to save my life. I was like, I'm doing something wrong here. Like, my beats don't sound as full as theirs, Learn how to clip. Everything, like literally everything changed. You know, I was getting placements before then, but now I'm getting placements with people that I really want to get placements with. And it's like, you know, yeah, I guess that's one of the things. You gotta study sounds. You gotta study sounds at the times. You gotta study your own sound and be real with yourself. If you sitting there like, you know, doing a whole bunch of crazy shit on the mic and you know it's crazy, you gotta accept the fact people might not be into that. And that's fine. If you fuck with it, that's really the most important part. If you wanna make a career out of it, you've also gotta balance like you and the appeal that track might have. You know, I used to like rap really fast or really slow, no in between. And I know like if I check Spotify for artists, my male fan base is like 80%, maybe even higher. Not many women was listening to my tracks, and understandably so. And it's like, I don't want to only appeal to one audience. And I feel like most artists, if you want that success, you should also try to appeal to multiple artists or like multiple audiences. So sometimes that means not doing too much with your beat, not doing too much with your verse. I used to do way too much with my beats and verses, and it would be a lot going on. Now that I've learned how to like take the more like simple approach, you know, maybe just stick to like a few things flow-wise or producer-wise, lib-wise, whatever. I've started to learn like I'm liking a lot more of my songs. They're more listenable to me, and I feel like they're more accessible. It's always good to experiment and all that, but rarely I feel like somebody is 100% them and it goes like, and they appeal to so many people. Like JPEG Mafia, I fuck with JPEG Mafia. In theory, just listening to some of his earlier music, I wouldn't assume somebody like him would be where he's at right now because his shit sounded so crazy, but it worked out for him, right? Yeah, so I guess really just you gotta compare sometimes. Not all the time, but even if you feel like you're not, and even you're like, I don't compare, you kind of are. You listen to these things, you're influenced by, you hear what's on the radio, and you take a few things that work for you, and that's from that, you might incorporate it into your style, and that's how you get more of a, you know, that's how you get more people attracted to your stuff. At least in my experience. I learned to like tone it down a bit, be more chill with my delivery sometimes, and it's working wonders for me. I ain't gonna lie. The new stuff, I'll say, a lot of people are more tapped in with my old stuff, but the new shit is gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
Feels like just you're understanding your landscape more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got you. So I want to talk about placements. You spoke about that just right now. Mm-hmm. How did you get in the flow of getting your placements? Most recent ones. Yeah,
so most recently, I had to like, you kind of gotta, like as a producer, which if I'm being honest, that's kind of how I got my foot in the door in the underground scene of Atlanta. Like, it wasn't as a rapper. Let's be honest. Like, people did not start checking me out for real as a rapper until like this year when I dropped the Homies tape. I had to DM a whole bunch of artists, right? Be a salesman. Like, hey, I got some beats. I'm trying to work for the free ski, right? Which a lot of people might not want to hear this, but damn near every opportunity I've gotten or every placement I've gotten, I got that placement sending out like a free beat. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you come to me asking for a beat, that's a little bit different. But like in terms of getting these placements, I would have to DM artists like, hey, I'm trying to work. Sometimes they won't respond. They'll leave me on red or whatever. That's the game, you know? I just remember, all right, cool. But for everybody else that's tapped in, that's like, yeah, sure, you know, I get a pack ready, send it to them, and I hope for the best, you know? That's really how I've gotten it at this point, just sending shit out. Now I'm kind of in more progressed in my career, so now I'm like, you know, I'm in tune with certain people that could help me get certain like bigger placements. Nothing guaranteed, obviously, but with the underground scene, literally just DMing people and then sending them beats, right? And doing it enough to where it's like, and then landing those placements, you know, I start getting my name out. So now people want more these beats and I start getting more placements. It's cool. It's cool. It's rough. It is a little bit frustrating because it's like, damn, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give you a free beat and you being weird. And I'm not talking being weird as in like not responding, but like, I'm talking like legitimate, you know, sometimes people are weird and it's like, you know, you can't really do anything about that. But yeah, you know, just DMing people and be like, hey, I'm trying to work. Send them a beat, get the placement.
So I want to talk about one of my favorite songs from you, Commas. To me, that really talks about protecting yourself, not worrying about how others are going to perceive your actions. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you work on finding that balance between being honest, but at the same time, protecting your energy?
Yeah, that's hard. I guess I had to learn myself. I realized when I came home because of COVID, I do not like being around a whole bunch of people. You know, I guess what people describe like as like an introvert. Like I truly do not like leaving the crib unless I absolutely have to, right? And not to say like shit like this is cool, you know what I'm saying, or sessions, you know, but yeah, I don't do like parties. I don't like being in everybody's face. I don't be having a whole, you know what I'm saying? I've never been one to have hoes. Like I really am like, I had to learn like, bro, I am very much like, I crave my peace more than anything. It's funny you say Commas. I wrote that song before I had got to that point in my life, you know? I wrote that song in like 2020 or recorded that song in 2020. That whole shit made 20. But yeah, so protecting my energy really meant like sticking by myself, sticking by my people. And, you know, sometimes people might feel like you being a type of way, but it's like, bro, if you know, you should know this life shit ain't easy. You've been through what I've been, you could probably be the same way. So I do my best by, you know, just staying out of bullshit. You know, I don't be doing shit that I'm not supposed to be doing. I stick to what works for me. And choosing peace every time has been working for me, right? I truly enjoy a peaceful life. Like that shit is so great. Like, and not having to worry about, you know, certain things. Still gotta worry, but yeah, that's how I do it. I just stay out of certain shit. You know, I don't feed into certain shit. Yeah, even as enticing as it can be, I just remember like, this is what I want to do. And then sometimes I'll remember this is what that felt like when you did this thing. You know, learning from my mistakes, learning from other people's mistakes has helped me protect myself too, you know, and being honest with myself has kind of helped that. I had to be honest, like, yo, do you truly want to go to this thing? Like, or just, do you even want to partake in whatever this is? And I would lie to myself just to be like, yeah, let's just see what it's about. And it's like, damn, I wish I never went, you know? So yeah, just isolation for me. Isolation for me is how I protect my peace. Sometimes I gotta be by myself, whether it's creating, whether it's just I need my own space to just breathe. Sometimes I don't. And I know I'm bad with it sometimes. I'm not like the biggest texter in the world. Some of my friends that aren't introverts are like, oh, you hate me, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, I just do not, I just don't be talking. Like, I come from a quiet family too. We do not be talking that much. So yeah, that's how I protect my peace.
I think that goes into like having to make connections in this industry, especially. Do you feel like at this point they have to be organic connections or just beneficial?
It can be both. It can be both. I realized I'm in the worst type of industry for who I am as like a person, like having to talk to people and go out of my way to be in certain situations. That junk, it's not like the most fun, but sometimes like, I prefer genuine connects, right? That's how I got to this point. The homies tape is all genuine connects. Everybody on there is somebody I fuck with. Like, we built that relationship up. And I feel like that's why it did so well. And I feel like that's why it sounded so great. Just building relationships with artists, which is kind of like what, me and my brand does in Like No Band. We build relationships with people, and then, you see the outcome of being genuine when we throw certain shows or just when we put people on the platform. I most definitely prefer genuine connects because I feel like there's less, when it's strictly beneficial, that's when people start acting weird. People start like, they feel like they can't get nothing out of you, or they feel like they can continue to just like sun you or whatever. There, it's gonna be different versus a mutual exchange of interest and like, just actually creating some cool shit. Sometimes people only hit me up when they need something, and that's fine, that's the game. But I would be lying if I sat here and pretended like, those transactional, those, just beneficial relationships didn't sometimes turn sour because of what it was. I couldn't provide something for you or whatever, and now you're acting a certain way with me. And that's on you, but yeah, I prefer genuine connects, actually building and talking with artists, seeing where their head is at, and just creating with them, I feel like gives the best result. And it has worked wonders for me so far. That's where a lot of my successes come from. Most of it, actually. So, yeah.
Talk about dealing with self-doubt and what reminds you to keep going.
Man, if you are serious about your craft, you will have self-doubts. If you are real with yourself, you will have self-doubts. I hate that is what you kind of got to go through as an artist, but it builds character. I mean, I doubted myself so hard, I thought I was gonna quit making music. Like that was enough for me. I was like, I can't make it in this. I need to focus on something else. A lot of artists that aren't up there for real, they'll have to sacrifice their art, for this job, right? For this or that, to survive. And that was me for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to sacrifice a lot of what I wanted to do, and I was putting so much into it already, and nothing was coming out of it. So when you put your all into something and nothing comes out of it, it hurts, like, okay, for instance, right? I made the homies music video, right? 6 minutes long of animation, right? Had I planned better or whatever, I'm sure the process wouldn't have been so tedious, but I put in work for that shit, right? I put in so much work for that shit. It was like 2 months damn near. And I dropped it, and it didn't seem like niggas was watching it for real. Like, I had, at the time, I had over 1,000 followers on IG, over 300 on Twitter. On TikTok, I have like 50K off some random shit, but it didn't even crack. It didn't even crack like 500 until recently, and it was just like, well, damn, maybe I suck. Maybe people don't care enough to watch it, but it's like, I sometimes like, I doubt myself because it's like, I do believe, many artists put in hours. They put in thousands of hours. They do. But like, from my standpoint, animating your whole visual yourself, or just mixing, mastering your whole track, doing all this shit and then not really getting what you put in out, that shit hurts like a mug. And I know a lot of people understand this feeling, but I feel like it's multiplied with me sometimes, you know, because I'm doing more things. I'm like, well, if this don't catch, at least this will. And when nothing catches, you're like, damn. But yeah, like I've stated before, just being around, you know, like-minded individuals in terms of like what they want to do with their careers and being inspired by great artists like on the net, my friends, my fam, that shit keeps me going. And it's like, I'm competitive. I am competitive. I can't help it. It's like, you know, when you're an athlete from 4 to 18, it becomes a part of you, right? And sometimes I get down, but then I get kind of irritated because it's like, the fuck? And I start grinding, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, like I'll listen to some of my friends' music and I'll be like, oh my God, this is so good. But it's so good, I feel like I had to catch up to them. And that's when I start working, you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta be able to keep up with my niggas, you know what I'm saying? I gotta be able to make something that I hear this song and it makes me feel like this. I've never made a song that makes me feel like this. I wanna do that. So yeah, I find inspiration everywhere. And having shit that's in the vault or planning ahead makes you doubt less because it's like, okay, this didn't work, but I got this in store, right? When I used to doubt myself a lot, it's because I didn't have anything in store. I put all this effort into this thing, all my eggs into this basket, and I shipped it out. It went nowhere. I have nothing in the tank. I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do. I'm uninspired. When you have shit in the vault and you plan for shit and it's like, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, that doesn't work. I already have this. That doesn't work. I have this. I'll only start truly doubting myself how I did back in 2020 when I run out of options. And I'm not someone at this stage that runs out of options. So as long as I continue to like, you know, keep my head down and go through the bullshit, you know, I feel like I can pick that up regardless, you know? That's me though, that's me.
If you could have a dream show anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I guess as of right now, I'd do it in South Africa. Yeah, that's like a dream show for me to perform in South Africa. A lot of before I really got support from the city, from Atlanta, because it wasn't, if we're being real, I didn't get a whole bunch of support until like recently, like this year. It was definitely people who were fucking with me, but in terms of like who I was, who people knew, it wasn't until this year. Prior to that, 2021, 2020, a lot of my fan base was from South Africa. The last EP I put out with J6, he's from South Africa. I have, you know, not to say I got like a whole huge fan base in South, but they've always shown me love. And like, I mean, I think it would be so dope to perform over there, man. Like, man, I think it would be so fire. I've wanted to go to South Africa for a minute just because of my producer homies and my rapper homies from over there. But yeah, I think as of right now, that's where I want to perform at, like as a dream performance thing.
Are you a perfectionist when it comes to creating or no?
You know, some people might say I am, but I don't think I am because I truly know a perfectionist, right? I ain't gonna say who, but he knows who he is. Because I don't think I'm a perfectionist because I will see something through, right? Like I mean, and that doesn't mean that I'm not, or like, you know, that doesn't make one or not, but I'm not afraid to fail. You know what I'm saying? I'm just very in tune with what I want. If this isn't, you know, I know whatever I make isn't going to be perfect, but you know, there's a threshold that I feel like is good enough, right? It might be really, you know, higher, you know, whatever, but yeah, I don't think I'm a perfectionist at all because I'll create whenever, whatever, you know, sometimes things hit, sometimes they don't. I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to fail. So it's like, to say I'm a perfectionist when I've taken as many L's and have experimented with so many things, and nah, I have high standards. Yeah, but I know for sure I'm not gonna make something that's perfect. There's always room to improve, but there's a level of good enough that satisfies me.
So what are some milestones, short-term goals that you wanna manifest in your life?
Yeah, that's a good one. So, because I feel like I had goals this year and I didn't reach them, but I reached other goals I didn't think I was gonna reach this year. I wanted to drop way more, right? The Homies tape, I'm gonna be honest. I know people love those songs, but they were like throwaways to me. I almost didn't drop that tape because I was like, these aren't good. They were, none of those songs, except for maybe like, none of those songs were made like in the time span like close to it. You know what I'm saying?
Not cohesive.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe one or two was made closer to like the actual release date. But the first Homies, the intro song, that was the first song I made when I decided I wasn't gonna quit music in like February 2020. You know what I'm saying? That song old, and a lot of those songs were made in 2020, and it's like, it's 2022 and I'm dropping them. Only reason why I'm dropping them is because like I feel like they were objectively good songs, but I'm just trying to empty the vault. I have new shit on the way for real, that you guys are definitely gonna love. But the Homies tape did so well, I kind of was put in a corner where I had to push it, right? I didn't expect the success of the Homies tape, like at least to where it was at. Like I truly was like, people are gonna like this and they're gonna be like, okay, what's next? But no, people heard it and was like, yo, this song, oh my God, And it's like, really? Y'all like this? I mean, okay, so it definitely, it taught me to get out of my head, but I wanted to drop way more this year. I dropped the EP. That EP was supposed to like come out like last year, or really just late 2020. And me and J6, we sat on it for a long time. It's timeless music, so I feel like it could have dropped whenever and been okay. But yeah, there was other shit I wanted to drop this year and I didn't get to it. So coming next year, I want to be more realistic with how I'm going to drop and plan things, and just, so I guess for short-term goals, I definitely have a few music videos I have to animate for myself. I want to knock those out because I'm working on like a really big project with my team. It's gonna be really cool. And that's more of like a long-term goal. So I guess, knocking out these little animated projects. I've gotten placements with artists I wanted to get placement with this year. More placements that I'm trying to get on the way. And I mean, just, performing more, especially in the city. I just, but there's only so much I can do about that, right? Somebody has to feel like I'm worthy enough to be on stage or whatever, so just, performing more for show is definitely like a short-term goal. I haven't performed much at all in my music career. Like, I'm about to lie. Yeah, I haven't performed that much, so more performances.
When did you achieve full confidence in your skills?
I achieved full confidence in my skills, I would have to say this year. It was a combination. So like when I dropped Hellfire last year, that was like the first song. I was like, whoa. Like it was actually my first like song. I was like, this is a great song. Overall, like there wasn't anything I can nitpick and be like, oh God, like I probably should have. No. So like that was like the stepping stone. Everything leading up to that, I would say helped me. But this year especially, I've become very much like I'm him. I might not be the best, right? I'm not the best producer, engineer, rapper, guitarist, bass guitarist, cover artist, animator, editor, whatever. I'm not the best at any of those things. You're not going to be the best if you're a jack of all trades. But I'm pretty damn cold in most of those things. And it's cold enough to where it's getting me paid here and there, and people are recognizing, and it's putting me in situations like this. So, I think I want to say probably like February, March, that's when I was like, yeah. You know, like that's when I was like, yeah, I can do this. I'm that guy. And as long as I remember that, I will always have room to improve and I will never be like the best. I'm cool with that. I don't have to be the best. I just gotta be me. So yeah, when I realized that, like all I gotta do is just do me and do me very well, that's when I was like, yeah, I've achieved full confidence in my abilities. So now when I doubt, it's not really am I good enough? It's like, you know, when is this opportunity gonna come? Will this opportunity come? But yeah, in my skills, I'm there. I'm there.
At this point, how important is it to make money at your craft?
It's important, but there's not much money to be made at the level I'm at right now, being honest. Like, unless I'm doing a beat commission every day and it's several, if it's gotta be like, I gotta have at least 4 beat commissions every day, right? At this stage I feel like, or even not even beat, maybe even cover art commissions or whatever. I gotta have that shit coming in at a rate to where that's what I do, right? And it's nowhere near that yet. It's not coming in at the volume I need it to. So it is definitely very important, but the level I'm at and a lot of the artists I work with, we are struggling. I mean, trying to pay for a whole bunch of things, that's the reason why I did all this shit myself starting out. Like, I didn't have money to pay anybody else to do it. You know, I didn't even have money to do it myself sometimes. And so money is very important, but it is not the end all be all. And I don't feel like at this stage where, you know, you are not surviving off of your music is, you know, that important. And I know people go like, you know, yeah, get the money, get paid, but it's like, be real with yourself. You know, how much money are you gonna make from Spotify if you don't have this many streams? You're not gonna make much. I mean, it took me like a year and a half to make like $90 off of whatever I was doing. And before that, it took me like almost 2 years to make $50 before I got to this point. So knowing that there's not much money to be made right now doing exactly what I'm doing is like, it makes it more like I'm doing this for the art. I'm doing this to actually create something good, because it's like, it's more genuine then. I'll be more worried about the money when the money starts actually coming in and paying my bills, or like, you know, doing music actually pays my bills. That's when I'm going to care for real. Most of my opportunities, like 90% of them came from working for free, and I don't regret it at all, you know, because I'm here. So yeah, it is important, but it's not that important right now.
What do you want to be respected and admired for?
I want to be respected and admired for just, I don't know, just being me, just being genuine. I do my best not to do dirt by anybody. I'm sure people can attest to that, right? If it was something that happened, it was never intentional. People notice about me, like I'm not in this shit to do people dirty, like, especially since I know what that feels like. You know, I've been around people that's going up or that's already up now, and they did me the fucking worst way. They were not good people. I just want to be, you know, I want people to see me as this guy that's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm doing these things, but like, I bleed just like you. You know, we breathe the same air. I'm not above nobody, and I hope to not portray that. I want people to just see me as like just me, you know, because I definitely know what it feels like to be around somebody that's high and mighty or whatever, or just act like they better than so-and-so, and it's just not a good feeling. So yeah, I want people to revere me for working, busting my tail, respecting my craft, and just, I guess, doing right by people. You know, eventually want to get to the point where I can start giving back to communities when I actually start making money for real. But yeah, that's what I want. I mean, I think you know, that feels good to me, knowing people are like, yeah, like, you know, that's a cool guy. As long as people think I'm cool doing what I'm doing, and then, you know, I'm not doing dirt. You can't please everybody. You can't. Somebody's always gonna have something to say or feel about you. I know how I move. I know how I act. And, you know, it's always sorry if I offend you, if it, you know, but I'm going to be doing me regardless. And I just want people to respect that. Yeah.
What do you want to improve on? What do you feel like you need to improve on?
Need to improve on animating. I'm decent, but not that good, if I'm being honest. I gotta improve just my drawing skills in general. I need to improve, I think, my mixing and mastering, but I feel like a lot of that comes with better equipment, better plugins. Yeah, improving my singing. I'm not that great at singing. Yeah, and I guess just overall, just improving how I make songs and just what feels good sonically. Recently, I've been listening to music that makes me feel like I'm in that world, whatever it was. I don't feel like I've done that super well yet, and I want to be able to create something that immerses people. So that's what I feel like I need to improve on. I think I'm a pretty solid rapper. I thought I had to improve on rapping, but as of recent years showed me, I don't have to be that good of a rapper to make it. I still take pride in it, but it's not that much of a concern for me anymore. I will always try to get better at it, but producing wise, I've gotten to a level where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty cold. Always room to improve there, but those the ones I listed, those are the main ones. I'm like, yeah, I gotta get better at those. Ooh, and performing. I gotta get better at performing.
So besides taking care of your family, friends, and loved ones, what do you want to do with your success once you achieve it?
Might sound crazy. I kind of want to do nothing. I hope to get financial independence through this, which that is asking for a lot nowadays. But I want to get to the point where I don't have to worry about anything. I'm not even sitting here saying like, oh, I gotta travel the world and shit like that. Just as long as like I can wake up, not do anything that whole day and not feel bad about it, right? Sometimes even on like, I feel bad taking a break because it's like, I'm not where I need to be, you know what I'm saying? And the longer I take this break, the longer it's gonna take me to get somewhere. You know, if I'm able to wake up, not do a damn thing that whole day and not worry, and then, yeah, like just being able to like give back to those that either help me out or just those in need, you know, if I can do that, that's pretty cool with me, to be honest. I don't, like I said, I value my peace so much that it's like, now that I'm at this stage in my life where I realize what I actually want, or like the few things that I know I want, that's what I want to be able to achieve. So being able to help my folks out, help out the communities in need, and just, if I decide I don't want to do a damn thing that day, I can take the day, you know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do.
What are some artists that we need to all look out for that are coming up right now?
Smiles, he's dropping an album soon. EJ, he and I rap a lot together. You've definitely heard him before. Novice, you know what I'm saying? He's in No Band. Also, all three of these guys are No Band guys, by the way. I want to shed light on some. So the homie Ashawn Boy, he's from Toronto. He's one of my favorite producers right now. Look out for him, obviously. God, dog, it's a lot of people to like shout out, man. Like, it's a lot of folks on the way. I know you've heard of, gotta have heard of Mod Sadiq. You know, he was on In Your Face with me. Shout out him. You know, bruh be rapping his butt off. He's in 602 with me, and he's actually the guy that got me into rapping. You know, Smiles is my best friend, and he got me into making music, but I was just a producer and engineer before that. Mod Sadiq was one of him and 602, but I say it was mainly him because he's like the leader of the group. He pushed me to rap, and yeah, so without those two guys, it definitely I wouldn't be here for real. Yeah, it's like, cause I want to highlight people that's not like already got a light on them, cause it's people.
That's what I want.
You know what I'm saying? Cause it's people I know that's already got like kind of a light on them, and it's like, you know, they already kind of got that support. Not to say that they don't deserve more. Like, you know, shout out, you know, like Ahmad Anonymous, Jelani, Loki, Jazzy the rapper, the whole underground type shit. But in terms of people that I feel like truly do not get the shine they deserve and are undoubtedly the coldest motherfuckers walking this earth right now, yeah, EJ, Smiles, Nabis, Mod Sadiq, and I'm trying to think who else in the city for real. And that's like, you know, you put me in a corner here because it's so many people in the city. Like, it's like I know it's people out there, but for some reason I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, I'm also, you know, and I don't want people thinking I'm biased just because these are my niggas. Like, I'm as good. You're only as good as your weakest link. And many times I've been the weakest link with these guys. So these guys push me and help me create a sound for myself. Yeah, those four. Those are the ones I can name right now. If I left you out, my fault. You know it's no beef. But yeah, those four. EJ, Smiles, Nabis, Mod Sadiq. That be actually like, I feel like doing this shit for real. They serious about their craft. They are severely slept on, which, you know, never okay. But those are the guys for me, you know. Yeah. They're kind of like me. They don't really get that shine for real at all. So.
Got you. So what's next for you coming up the rest of the year and the early next year?
Got another single on the way, probably dropping it in like November, maybe, you know, or at least dropping with me. I know it's maybe a few more features dropping that I'm on. Next year, I'm gonna be dropping more singles, maybe an EP. But that's also the year I'm working on like a really big thing. This Saturday, I'm gonna be in Rome, Georgia for a music arts festival. So like that's definitely on the way. Everything else is more like we gotta see how it plays out. You feel me? Like, you know, opportunities will come as time progresses, as people find out about me like y'all have. So that's what I can say is in stone as of right now. You know, a lot of things, I say this next phase of my life will be a lot of things setting up what I need to get to that next level. I won't sit here and say next year is gonna be my year, right? I'm saying probably the year after that, you know? So I think just building, creating, and just continuing to sharpen my skills will ultimately get me to where I need to go in the near future, I hope. But yeah, that's what I got on the way. A lot of great sounds, a lot of cool sounds, and people are finally going to see like where my head is at with this music shit, like what direction I'm trying to go. So, or at least a part of the direction. So that's what's next. That's what's up.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for pulling up. I appreciate you. Wishing you the best on all that work, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.